Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Hi, Loey. My name is Loey, and what we're going to be talking about today is genuinely like something out of a horror movie. Now, I was just filming for my next big glitch in the Matrix video. You guys should probably be getting that in the next week or so, but as I got to the end of it, I realized that this series of videos were a little bit too complex and long for how long that video had already become. A girl takes like a month off and suddenly forgets how to film for 3 hours at a time. But I thought that this was so fascinating and so unbelievably creepy that I would rather make it its own video for you than skip over it entirely for the sake of time. As unbelievable as it feels to me now, everything we're about to watch was all filmed over the course of 5 days back in July. And it comes from this woman's account. Now, she goes by Britlot on TikTok, and prior to this had just posted very normal snippets of her life. She's a mom, she's very involved in her kids' lives, and she wasn't a particularly frequent poster until July 2nd of this year, when a video of hers would hit 3.2 million views, talking about a bizarre experience she was having that she thought could be a glitch in the Matrix. And after hearing this story, I think you may agree with her.
If you believe in the glitch in the Matrix stuff, will you stick around and give me your opinion?
As the story begins, we find out that it's a piece of mail that this poster, Brit, has received recently that has her so unnerved. Because it isn't from a stranger, it's marked as returned to sender, meaning that she was the one who sent it out in the first place. And what's inside of this envelope is just something she never could have expected.
So I got a letter in the mail today. It's marked return to sender, and there is a lady's name that I've never met and don't know who it is in the for spot, and then my full name and full correct address in the return spot. So it was returned to me. Has a stamp and everything. On the back of the card, when it was sealed, it said, "To my dear friend," and it had little hearts on it. Super cute. So I opened it, as one does. It was a homemade card for Tina. And when I opened it, it's this very long letter to Tina. It's a heartfelt message about how, like, basically they were friends. Whoever wrote this and this Tina were friends way back when. It has a very specific story where it talks about when they were bowling and they ran over an old Marty's foot. At one point she says, "I'm not writing this to reopen old wounds or rehash the past, just to say you matter, you still do, and I hope life is treating you with the kindness you deserve." Sweet message, right? It is marked from me. And then probably the most unsettling part is that it says new number. And this that my finger is covering is my real cell phone number.
Many people immediately assumed this was some sort of prank. I mean, somebody signing her name, including her phone number, but the intricacies of it, as she'll bring up later on in these videos, are just kind of intense for that. They would have had to have sent it to someone, they would have had to have made someone up completely and sent it to them knowing that they wouldn't be at the address they were sending it to, whoever mysteriously would have made this card, I mean. Then they would have had to believe that she would have opened it. I mean, the entire thing is just kind of a drawn out plan for a prank. It's certainly not out of the question, but it doesn't come across like that to me.
I did not make this card. I do not know who Tina is. This is not my handwriting. The stories in here don't make sense. We did our own internet searching because we know how to do that. The woman's name in the for spot does exist in the town that I live in. She seems to be about 15 to 20 years older than me. And her Facebook page doesn't look like it's been active for 7 years. At least that's what I can observe. Like, her Facebook profile changed 6 years ago. She made a post that was public 6 years ago. Maybe it's just all private. I don't know. And the address that was returned from is a true apartment complex in the town that I live in. But clearly, like, she doesn't live there or whatever. But somebody is impersonating me. Obviously not doing a very good research job because they sent it to an address that doesn't exist. But someone decided to use my name and my address, write a very heartfelt letter to Tina. Sorry, Tina, I don't know who you are. but included my cell phone number.
And while Britt's husband believed that this was a prank of some kind, believed there was some sort of explanation, she really is leaning on the side of it being a glitch in the Matrix or something paranormal or unexplainable.
This feels crazy, so I'm going with a crazy answer because nothing else makes sense. The letter looks like it was written by me, but I've never seen it before in my life. It looks like it was written to Tina. I've never met Tina before in my life. I don't know who she is. I did Facebook message her and like sent her all the pictures of everything with my phone number, so that's probably not the best choice. But is this a scam? Is my husband right? Or is like another version of me and this woman who's like 20 years older than me friends, or they were friends? I don't know. I need an answer, and I'm starting to think that paranormal is the only way through this.
And from this first video, when I saw it going viral back in July, because you guys always tag me in your scary video finds, you're the only reason that this series even exists here on my channel. So thank you so much for that. If you ever want to follow me at LoeyBugXO and give me a tag in any of your spooky video finds, you may just see them featured in a video here on my channel. But when I initially was like tagged in this and saw it earlier this year, I definitely thought it was strange, but it's a lot of this follow-up information that makes this even stranger.
Apparently it's a group project to figure out why I got a letter signed by me, returned to sender, but I've never seen it and I don't know who the to letter is. That's the shortest recap, but if you go back to this comment, you can watch the whole thing. I'm pretty sure I'm living a glitch in the Matrix. Some questions that I have answers to. I don't think it's my handwriting. The biggest indicator is that on the like address, you can see that the 8 right there is like one fell swoop, and then they like draw a straight line over. Ever since I've ever written the number 8, I've done it in 2 circles. Another pretty clear indicator that this is not my handwriting is that the new number, the capital N in new is actually a small n, and the small n in number is actually a capital N. Fun fact about me, I am an English teacher, and I would never write letters like that because we like burn that into kids' heads. That's not my style. So no version of me, I think, would write like that unless a different version of me is a different profession.
Now, it seems like the Postal Service has had this for a pretty long time. There's not one, but like 2 return to sender labels on it.
The like postmark date, it does have the date of June 17th, 2025, like 2.5 weeks ago. The return to sender label has something on it that says 2025, but it kind of looks like a date, but it doesn't. But then this has 4 numbers, and that's definitely not a year. And then there's a second return to sender label, but that has like a 20 and a 25. And then again, this like weird, maybe someone who is part of the Postal Service can explain those codes to us, because I don't know what's going on there. We have contacted Tina, and she has not responded back.
Now, something else she talks about is what was the top comment in the last video, which is people asking like, do you have carbon monoxide detectors in your house and have you checked them? And she basically says she lives with all of these other people who are not behaving strangely in the slightest. If there was something wrong, surely they would be acting strange too, you know? And she also talks about like some people were asking, are you getting up in your sleep maybe and doing this? And she's like, no, I have toddlers who come into my bedroom at night and want to snuggle. Like they certainly would notice if I was gone for hours at a time, concocting this strange card to Tina and then mailing it out. Like it just seemed so convoluted and like a multi-step process for sleepwalking or carbon monoxide poisoning, which I do know that that can make you do some crazy stuff, but you know what I mean?
One person asked me, it does not look like that card like fit in this envelope. You are correct, because it was like this in that envelope. So, and if you look at my first video, you can clearly see that like when I hold it up, it does that like accordion thing right by the end. So it did fit in that envelope. I'm not scamming you.
But she also talks about how not that many people have her last name, how it's kind of a rarer last name. and how also she's had her phone number for like 18 years.
My husband and I built this house 4 years ago, so no one else has lived here. My last name is very weird. Like every single time somebody walks up to me and says my last name, or like I introduce myself and they say my last name, they'll be like, do you know? And it's always my husband or my father-in-law or my brother-in-law. Like I don't know I've ever met someone that has our last name that's not related to us. And my phone number, this has been my phone number since I was in college. And we're coming up on almost 20 years since I've been in college. So it's like been my phone number for 17, 18 years. It's been my phone number for a really long time.
In the next video, Britt reveals a bit more to us. She's actually a school teacher, and she says in this video in particular that looking at some of the ways that this was written, it seems very childlike.
Okay, so it starts here, it goes here, and then there's like a big arrow that tells you to come up here. That does remind me of a child. Apparently I'm giving out more information about myself than I would like to on the internet today. I am a teacher. I teach 8th grade English, and so that does feel a little like childish, but listen to the letter. It doesn't sound like it was written by a child.
Now, she also reads to us, finally, the contents of this card, and I'm just gonna let her read it out. It doesn't exactly explain much. It just leaves me with more questions.
Dear Tina, I hope this letter finds you well, truly well, in every way that matters. Lately, I have found myself thinking about you more often than usual. Maybe it's a song I heard or maybe a poem I read, just one of those moments from the past that tugs on your heart. Whatever the reason, I realize how much I miss you. It's strange how time can move so quickly and so slow all at once. It feels just like yesterday when we went bowling and ran over old Marty's foot. Somehow, whole years have slipped by between us. I miss our conversations. I miss the way we understood each other. Your presence made those days brighter. I'm not writing this to reopen old wounds or rehash the past, just to say you matter, you still do, and I hope life is treating you with the kindness you deserve. If you ever feel like catching up, I would love that. Take care of yourself, always. My name, Brittany, and then new number, and then my cell phone number. That is the letter.
She also talks a bit about the stamp here. I believe it's dated like 2019, but it's a forever stamp. You know how you can just buy those and then use them forever? If I were to look at the date on mine, I'm not even sure what I would possibly find, like 2016. I've had them forever. So that doesn't seem that strange to me. But you know, in her reading it, it's like she talks about, you know, signing her name, then new number. And knowing that she's had this number for 18 years, I don't know, like at this point in the story, is this really her in some alternate reality writing to Tina, this person who she clearly doesn't know in this reality or whatever? Or is this all a prank? Or is it all some crazy misunderstanding? But that doesn't really make any sense either, because it was sent back to her address. It's her name. It's her number that she's had for 18 years, even though nothing else about this makes sense.
That is not the same stamps that are in my house. So for all of you that are convinced, like I have a split personality, I am doing this in the middle of the night because of carbon monoxide or because I'm taking a sleep aid or because, like, I don't think those... My husband and I have been married for almost 10 years, and I feel like at some point in time in the 10 years, and we've been together for 13, at some point in time in living together for over 10 years, he would have, like, caught on to the fact that I was just more than, like, womanly different personalities, and, like, I actually had different personalities. We've also raised 4 children together, so I feel like at some point in time that would have showed up, too. I don't know. That's what I got for you. I read you the letter. I do have children to put to bed, so I probably won't make another video again tonight unless something huge happens. So, thanks for being part of my group project.
Now, all of those videos were posted on July 2nd. July 3rd, Britt actually comes back and adds a little bit more to the story, and she talks about how she was giving her husband a play-by-play about how she basically discovered this letter. And she discovers something really interesting.
I was telling him a timeline, and I told him how I dropped one of our children off and I came home, and at 10 a.m. I checked the mail because I have packages that are arriving and wanted to see if anything had gotten there. So I checked the mail and I cleared everything out of the mailbox, and then I went inside, and did some things around the house. And at 11:45, he sends me a text message. And fun fact about us, we built this house and moved in 4.5 years ago. And before that, we had to live in a rental because we sold our old house before this one was built. So there was a lot of moving around. And so he signed up for this like post office service where he gets an email with pictures of everything that's showing up in our mailbox that day. And so at 11:45, he sent me a screenshot of his email and said, hey, do you know who this is? It's being returned to sender. It has your name in the like return box. And I was like, that's weird. No, I don't know who that is. And he was like, well, you go check the mail and see what's in this letter. So at 11:45, I walked my little butt out to the mailbox and checked the mail, and that letter was the only thing in my mailbox. At that point, he pauses and he looks at me and he goes, that letter didn't show up in the mail yesterday. Yeah, that mail, that letter was in my mailbox from previous days. So he goes into his mailbox and he starts scrolling. June 27th, last Friday. That letter should have been in our mailbox last Friday. Did I just miss it in the mailbox? Because that was my husband's answer. Sure, logically, maybe, but why? Why would it all align that I went and checked the mail and cleared it at 10 a.m. and then he texted me at 11:45, which sent me out to the mailbox, and it was the only letter left in our mailbox? Did I just miss it? How does it all connect? Now, before you say, like, it was returned to sender to a neighbor and they just shoved it in your mailbox after they checked theirs, no, because our mailbox doesn't have a slit in the front. It's just like a solid metal door that we have a key to and the mail people have the keys to. That's it. You cannot slide things in our mailbox.
I find that very suspicious as well. The fact that, like, I'm sorry, but if you have one of those types of mailboxes, the kind that you unlock, and you have to go in there like that, I just don't think you're leaving something like that behind. And the fact that she came back and it was the only thing in there and the post office had it for all of this time, it's just very weird. It's very suspicious.
But it does tell me that USPS had this letter in their possession on June 27th. So it was postmarked June 17th. They had it in their possession and they were putting it in, according to them, my mailbox on June 27th. Which means they had it for 10 days. For those of you that think that I'm doing this for views or followers, wouldn't I have tried to have been an influencer in previous videos? My previous videos are like months old and they're not influency at all. Like one's a trend and then everything else. I'm not trying to be an influencer. Please don't follow me. I don't care. I just want someone to help me answer my questions. We did some digging. Tina did live at that address. We posted pictures, but we covered her last name on a Mommy and Me site, and someone was able to search the address and figure out who it was, and then that woman tagged other people with her last name on Facebook in the post. We were like, it's weird that you did that, but also we just confirmed that she did live there once. She does not live there now. That's why it was returned to sender, okay? One of the women that was tagged, however, with her last name was like, that's my sister-in-law. I'm gonna screenshot all this and send it to her and see what she says. Late last night, she came back to that comment section and said, Tina responded and said she's never met a Brittany, or she has no memory of ever meeting a Brittany, and though nothing in the letter rings a bell to her, she's never heard anything like that. So we don't think Tina has anything to do with this.
She compares her own handwriting here to the handwriting in the card. I'll have to flip these around so you'll be able to read them. But I don't think they look particularly similar. The handwriting in the card does look much more childlike now that I'm looking at it compared to hers.
But this is my handwriting. Yes, I made notes. I'm a teacher. And this is the handwriting in the letter. They're not the same. They're not the same, okay? For those of you that are like, I have an 8th grader and they'd totally do this. Would they? Would they? And if your 8th grader would totally do this, would they know how the return to sender situation works? Because if someone did this with intent to screw with me, they would have had to have found an address to someone that they knew was going to bounce back. And then they would have had to have hoped that I did something with it when it bounced back to me. Because I could have just thrown this letter away. Return to sender, my name. I've never seen this letter before. Garbage. How is that a prank?
There are only 2 more videos to tell you about. And this happens to me quite often where I will stumble across something and I will really want to wait until it's kind of like a completed story to give to you. I like kind of having everything in one video, and I'm bad at multi-part things. You guys probably know this, but I tend to get really bad like ADHD brain, and I forget about what I'm already making and I want to make like 5 different other things, and I forget about the original project. But this is something where the disappearance of this creator, I think, has also been a really big mystery for people. Now, I'm sure she's okay and she's just going through her normal life. Prior to this, it's not like she had even posted in, I think, over a year before making this entire series of videos. So maybe there's just nothing else to say after these, but I find knowing that these last videos to be the most interesting. So at the end of July 3rd, she basically makes one more update to say there really are no more updates, to talk more about how crazy this entire thing is, how the timeline is just very strange, and just the fact that it's her name and her number, you know, all of that again.
Those of you that are saying like it could be from the past, the problem with that is I have only had the last name L for 10 years, and I got that new cell phone number like 18 years ago. So if college Brittany, who got a new cell phone number, was writing that letter to somebody for some reason, she wouldn't have signed it Brittany L, because that wasn't my last name at the time. Plus, this address is only 4.5 years old. So I would have never labeled a car, or like I would have never filled out the like return address to this house. This house is only 4.5 years old. My last name is only 10 years old. My cell phone number, which is listed in that card as a new number, is like 18 years old. So those timelines don't match.
Also, a lot of people think it might be her students because she's a teacher, but she really doesn't buy that either. And she also says that there are people who believe that her husband is having an affair because of this. I mean, I don't really see how that makes any sense at all.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I might never know how this happened. I might never know who created a fake letter, pretended to be me, wrote my name and my phone number on it, had my address. I might never have an answer. And I apologize because I know a lot of you were like, call the cops, hire a private investigator. I just don't think that's me.
And she is dedicated in trying to figure this stuff out, okay? I mean, she's like calling up the post office, asking what the zip codes at the bottom of the letter might mean, because she's trying so hard to locate where this may have even been sent out from.
I called the post office because there's 2 things printed on the front of the envelope. The first thing was the date and the location at the top, and then the second thing was a zip code at the bottom of the envelope. Both things were clearly printed by the post office, and I wanted to know what the zip code at the bottom of the envelope meant. I was told that if there's a zip code printed at the bottom of your envelope, that tells you the location of the post office that processed your mail. Meaning, that is like the part of town, in my situation, where that letter first hit mail. Interestingly enough, it's not my zip code. It is the zip code of the apartment complex. Now, this doesn't tell us anything for certain, because someone could have driven to that part of town and dropped it in an outgoing mail slot on any block, on any street, and gotten that zip code printed. However, it does tell you that it was not put in my personal outgoing mailbox. Because if I would have put it in my personal outgoing mailbox or anything near my house, it would have had my zip code on it.
And watching this video back, the ending does suggest to me that by this point, people were coming in and kind of trolling and just doing what the internet does. I mean, these videos were posted very quickly, so it's not like this entire situation dragged out over weeks or even a week. She says at the end that it feels less like a group project, which is how she kept describing it at the beginning of all of her videos. You know, welcome back to the group project where we try to figure out this mystery. It goes from that to, she says, maybe this is more of a hostage situation.
Maybe it's less of a group project, more of a hostage situation at this point. Peace out, friends.
I think that this is someone who really was not expecting that video to go as viral as it did, was not expecting that degree of attention. And then when people really wanted answers, or when they really wanted to push this narrative that they thought was correct, it stressed her out. I mean, she didn't have anything else to tell us. And I think that's why I sat on this one for a long time too, because it feels so inconclusive, if that makes any sense. But that's not the fault of the person who told all of this. I mean, imagine if she had just kept it to herself. We would have known all of that crazy stuff. But something I found as I was kind of ending this off was a video from Ashley Inc. Now, Ashley has a series called Spooky Scary Storytime over on her TikTok account, and I keep up with her pretty regularly, but I saw that she had made a video about this situation, and she says towards the end of this video that Britt actually ran the body of that card through an AI detection software, and that it came back as 62% AI. Now, I don't know where I missed that in this story. A lot of the times I have to watch these on like double speed to get through them because we just talk about so many videos. So I'm not sure where she said that, but here was Ashley's video on the situation.
Girl, I am so invested in this Brit Lot return to sender Tina letter situation. If you're not familiar, let me fill you in. This woman named Brittany posts a letter that she received in the mail that was written from her to someone else, but it was like return to sender. Like the person that she sent it to, it didn't go through and it got bounced back to her. But the thing is, she didn't write the letter and she doesn't even know the person that this letter is addressed to. The letter is handwritten, but she ran the text of the body through AI and it came back 62% AI. I don't know, that's inconclusive. It doesn't sound like something an 8th grader would write. It doesn't sound like something a computer would write. It's full of human emotion. The whole thing is very weird. It's very elaborate. I don't think that she's faking it. I didn't get that vibe at all from any of her videos. And I'm posting it because I think it's weird and creepy enough to warrant more looking into. Like her video got some traction, but I know that everybody here loves creepy, unexplained stuff. So I'm going to tag her. Here's a her at. Go watch her video and tell me what you think. Tell her what you think. I'm really hoping she finds some answers because I'm also genuinely invested.
Some of you said that looks AI, and after a second glance and like pulling some of my emotional stress out of it, I was like, you're right, it does look AI. So I typed the email into my Google Doc because that is what we use in my school, and I ran it through an AI checker, and it's 62% AI. So some of you were correct. This is why we do group projects. You are correct. That letter is probably written by AI. It still doesn't explain what would have been the motive to write it, to send it to someone that doesn't live there anymore, knowing it would bounce back to me. Also, I don't know if you've met a lot of 8th graders and had discussions with them, but the silly-nilly ones, they don't understand how return to sender works. They barely understand where to put addresses on letters.
And that leaves us here. I will say that knowing that most of the writing was AI generated or was supposedly AI generated does lead me more towards it potentially being some kind of a prank for some reason. It's still so convoluted and so bizarre, and the entire thing is so creepy. I truly believe, I don't know actually what I believe, I would lean towards it still being some kind of glitch in the matrix if it wasn't for the AI component. Now, I do want to throw out there though, so often those detectors are wrong. Even on social media, I've had videos of mine labeled as like AI generated, and I'm always like, what are you talking about? It's me in my room. I know what this space is, and I've seen it happen for other people as well. I still don't know necessarily where I land. And that's kind of interesting to me because I truly went into even filming this video after seeing everything I had seen before, you know, watching it along with you for this. I really thought that I had landed in a place where I was like, I think this one must be a glitch in the matrix. It's too weird. It's too like strange. Like the details are just so crazy and it's such a convoluted thing. It would be such a intense prank, I suppose, for someone to pull off. But then again, she's a teacher. Maybe it really is one of her students. I really love these stories when they come from people's own mouths because I feel like you can tell a lot in how someone tells their story. And I feel like for me, after years of hearing scary stories online and stuff like that, I've come to really be able to sort of sniff out the hoaxes, you know what I mean? And sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I miss the mark, but in this case, nothing about this woman's story seems disingenuous to me whatsoever. This seems like a person who had something genuinely crazy happen to her that wanted to share this story with the world, who got way more attention than she bargained for. And I really hope she uses it for something or sells the rights to the story, because it has the makings of a fantastic horror movie. I don't know. I'm really curious where you guys will end up landing on this one. I thought this was a really interesting story because in a time where I feel like I'm seeing a lot more alternate reality games and pieces of fiction presenting themselves as real, this has all the makings of something like that, but I don't think that it's fake on the part of the storyteller in any way, shape, or form. And if it is paranormal, if this is some kind of a glitch in the matrix, what are we really looking at here? If we really want to like kind of suspend ourselves in that reality for a sec, this would be a piece of mail, coming from a different timeline where she did know this Tina person and they maybe had beef of some kind. Because in the letter she says to Tina, I don't mean to like stir up old bad feelings, or however she phrased it. And I see she, like Brit, but she's not exactly the one writing this. I guess just in some other reality she would have. So what, is it like those videos that we talk about where people experience quantum immortality and suddenly like phase through time and space and just appear somewhere else? Did a mailman accidentally do that and go to another reality and then the letter just got lost in translation? Is Tina just missing out on all of this conversation in their real reality? God, that's just so freaking creepy, man. And mail stuff is weird. I feel like you so often will hear people talk about like, I received a letter from my deceased grandma 4 years after she passed away because it was just lost at the post office for so long. I don't want to discount the fact that like so often this stuff will just be sitting at the post office. I mean, think about the sheer amount of mail that goes through a post office, you know? But it is just so weird. It's so weird. God, it's so weird. Man, a snail mail horror story. I absolutely love it. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. And if the creator happens to watch this, I get the sense that she's not a very online person, but if she is watching this, I hope that you know that here in our little world, we loved hearing your story. And I'm sorry that people got so incredibly critical of it and of you. I think it's obvious that this was just a person sharing her authentic story, but people on the internet can be a little nihilistic. Is that the word I'm looking for here? Jaded, perhaps. We've seen a lot come and go in the world of horror, but this was a really interesting mystery, and maybe one day there will be something to update you with, but I think that's where this one ends. So I hope you enjoyed this little sneak peek of our next Glitch in the Matrix video. I am very happy that I ended up filming this tonight. Today was my first day back filming. Like I said, it's been like over a month. I had filmed my last video about the haunted bear a good while before I ended up posting it. If you are not a watcher of the streams, just so you are aware, this was not like a fun break or anything like that. There's unfortunately just been a lot of loss in my family this year, and I've been with my family a lot. And you guys know I'm a relatively private gal when it comes to stuff like that, so I don't necessarily get online and talk about what I'm going through. I'll tell you guys what I'm going through, but when it comes to other people, even, I don't love to share stuff like that. So I've just kind of been going through it privately, but it's been a lot of loss and it's been a lot of grief, and it's been a very difficult year, and I'm very thankful for my family and very unimaginably thankful for all of you that I have a job that I can take time from to grieve and be with my family. And you know, when I came back to live stream, or even just checking my messages while I was gone and stuff, I'm always so shocked when I see how many of you still give a flying crap about me. Sometimes I'm always like, oh wow, you guys remember I exist. So I think that's all, friends. I just wanted to say a big thank you for your patience and all of that. I just saw this amazing movie. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. Maybe I'm supposed to. I saw this amazing movie called Him recently. It should be out in theaters as you're watching this. I got to go to the premiere and it was beautiful. And the director was talking about how when he was working on the film, there was a lot of grief for everybody in the cast, basically. How as he was working on it, he was thinking about his father, who he had lost 8 years earlier, and how there were other people on the cast who were working through grief. And I think that grief can be this like really powerful emotion where while it's really hard, we also realize how strong we actually are. And I have been truly realizing what I am made of in the past year. And I just really appreciate you guys being there so much. I could not do it without knowing that all of you were right here waiting for me to come back. So thank you. I appreciate you so much. Go see Him, actually, not sponsored, but you really should. I really liked it. It's a Jordan Peele movie. It's honestly very good. It's about football. Anyways, rambling aside, I suppose that's it for me. So I really hope you all enjoyed. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A special thank you to my subscribers who are members of the channel. If you want to join the channel memberships and get extra members exclusive perks like members only videos, polls help me decide on future video topics, and so much more, you can click that little join button somewhere around the screen. We would love to have you. An extra special thank you to my VIP labs for their continued and generous support of the channel. I love and appreciate you all very, very much. I love you all very much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.